All right, it's a wonderful time again for your one and only basketball program. This is Ball Chats with Kenny, where we talk about everything basketball. And at times in this program, we get to invite some special guests to come tell us about their basketball journey, their basketball career, everything basketball they've been doing. And today, of course, you can see on my screen, it's no other than Tomi Taiwo joining me today on Ball Chats with Kenny. Welcome on board, Tomi Taiwo.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, good to have you. Been looking forward to this for a very long time. Finally, we're making it happen. Feels good.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, let's get going. Talking about basketball, what made you go into the game of basketball before we talk about your high school journey?
Yeah, so as you know, long ago, I feel like basketball was not big in Nigeria. It was really like football and some other sports, right? So basketball wasn't as popular. And my big brother, Tomi Taiwo, actually introduced the family to the sport of basketball. And I feel as though it's not very common to have men introduce women's basketball to a family or to other people. And he introduced us to Maya Moore, the WNBA, women's basketball in general. And I think that was just, I look at him as, an inspiration just for him doing that, because I think that him being a male, he could have easily introduced me to maybe the male side of basketball first. And I think that just kind of made me fall in love with the sport of basketball. Our family grew up going to Lynx games in Minnesota and watching Maya Moore, Lindsay Whalen, Simone Augustus play. And I think just being immersed in the game and him playing and working out together at the community center really just made me love the game even more.
Well, that's quite interesting. And big ups to Big Brother for doing that. And now, you can only thank him for doing that for you, because basketball is taking you places, right?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Now let's talk about your high school journey in Carmel. How did it go down?
Yeah, so I actually went to 3 different high schools. I started in Minnesota, went to high school in Indiana, and then Carmel, my favorite high school. I ended up being there for 2 years, my junior and senior year. And anyone who knows Indiana sports knows that basketball is huge in Indiana. Yeah. They say that basketball is just a game in every other sport or in every other state in the United States, but in Indiana, it's more than a game. They take it serious. And so just growing up, I guess, junior, senior year and playing AAU and playing against other schools in the MIC, which was the conference that I was in, was very, very challenging, right? Just playing against other girls who played at a very high level. It was something that was just amazing, and I think it really helped with me being seen by other colleges and even in AAU and Boo Williams and other AAU tournaments. I do really thankful to the coaching squad there, Coach Brennemer, who he was the assistant coach at the time, and also the coach of the JV team, and he moved up to varsity. He passed away, so RIP to him, but he'll always have a special place in my heart. And then Coach Winlin, he was my head coach at the time at Carmel, junior, senior year, and we are still, get along to this day. Like, he's such a great inspiration in my life to this day as well, and we get along and we see each other when we can. And so Carmel definitely has a big place in my heart, and I'm thankful to my parents for making the move and making the drive from a different city in Indiana up to Carmel during a summer. Like, they sacrificed a lot of time. And so
all right, talking about your parents, you mentioned that they supported you in your basketball journey, and we know that in Africa, as a young boy, you're telling your mom that you want to go into basketball at the age of 14. She's going to tell you, go to school. What are you
doing?
Go to school. Did you experience something like this?
Yeah, so I believe they're a big proponent of following your dreams, but at the same time, they were hesitant with which maybe path I was pursuing. Like you said, Nigerian parents, are you a doctor, a lawyer, or engineer, right? And so I guess it just so happened that I majored in health sciences, which was on the pre-med track. I initially thought that I was actually going to go to medical school. And I ended up getting my degree in pre-med and then my master's in business analytics. So healthcare mixed with data. And so, my dad being in healthcare, my mom being an accountant, and him being in toxicology, I kind of always wanted to mix the two passions. So I think that might have lightened the weight of me going all the way to play basketball, because I never imagined, like, I didn't have the passion to play professionally. I knew I wanted to play college basketball. Professional was something that was like in the back of my mind, but I was really, really driven by healthcare.
Yeah.
And that was like my passion. And so being able to put on the green and white and also play professionally in different countries,
Yeah.
that was just icing on the cake, and it was amazing. And it's something that I'll never, take for granted or forget or regret doing. I think that I'm a big advocate of being able to wear a bunch of hats and do what you want to do in your life. There's not just one thing you can do, and I think they also know that too, that told me, like, yes, you can go do this for a little bit, you can go pursue healthcare, you can. So it was really good to have their support, for sure.
And that's really good, and big ups to your parents for supporting you too.
Yes.
Now let's talk about you coming to Nigeria. Before we talk about the national team, you made a very bold decision, which was to play for Nigeria Customs. Yeah. And one of the reasons why I call it bold, because it's quite uncharacteristical to see players from abroad come play for Nigerian basketball teams. You get.
Yeah.
What made you make that decision? Was it the money?
Yeah. Oh, you want the tea? So listen, it was not the money.
Okay.
It was the fact that the African Women's Basketball League is kind of a newer concept in the way that there's newer sponsors.
Yeah.
I believe not this past tournament, but the year prior, that's when I joined Nigeria Customs.
Yeah.
And they had, I believe, the BAL or an NBA affiliate as well, like sponsoring, and they were getting more publicity.
Yeah.
And I was seeing kind of the teams that were involved and some of the faces, whether there were a couple of WNBA players or people that I played against during the Afrobasket. Yeah. And so I just thought, it was I think it was the month of December. I hadn't gone to play abroad yet.
Yeah.
Because it was right after my master's, and I was still juggling between professional and, fulfilling my dream of like healthcare.
Yeah.
And so my agent introduced it to me, and I was talking to our general manager of the Nigerian national team about, this shorter term league that still gives you exposure, but is not too much of a commitment, and it's still like a good opportunity to play against good other talents, high talent. Yeah. And so then I went to Nigeria, had a great time. We qualified, we won that group, and then we went on to play in Egypt. Yeah. In Alexandria. So it was a great time. I don't know. I had a great time.
Yeah, that's nice. And I think I must also commend you for doing that, because I think that really helped the team, and it gave the team more publicity. Oh, Tomi Taiwo is playing for the team. I had to double check, triple check to be sure if it's your name on the team. So
I think more should do it. Honestly, it was a great experience. It was fun. Made a lot of cool friendships and relationships, and playing against high-level talent. So it was a good time.
That's good to know. That's really good to know. And then you went on to play in Portugal for Esguarda Aveiro. Yeah. How was your time there?
It was a great time again. I did join the team on a little bit late, and they accepted me with open arms. I felt like I fit in right when I got there. I didn't feel like I couldn't be myself. They were really, really accepting. It's a whole new continent, right? And I've never been to Portugal. I did have a little bit of a Spanish speaking background, right? I studied Spanish in college, not fluent, but conversational. And so going to Portugal, I could slide, in the grocery stores, speaking a little bit of Spanish. And my teammates would always joke around with me, Tomi's Portuguese and Spanish are not the same. I'm like, it's similar. And they'd always joke about that. Yeah. But I had a great time. It was the top league in Portugal, and good competition, good players, and you see the national Portuguese team. They're actually doing well in their own tournament. So it's really fun to see.
Yeah, that's good to know. Now let's get to talk about the national team. What does it personally mean to you to wear the green, white, green jersey for Nigeria, the D Tigers of Nigeria? What does it mean to you? And that first call up, hey Tomi, come play for Nigeria. How was the feeling?
Yeah. First, what does it mean to me to wear the green, white, green and represent Nigeria? Yeah. It means everything. I think it really is a sense of pride that you have when you are representing your home country, especially being in America, where I'm not always surrounded by first people who look like me and people who identify, the same background and being Nigerian. And so being surrounded by other Nigerians and seeing myself and my teammates, and then seeing myself in coaches, seeing myself in fans, it was really something that it's a feeling you can't explain. Right. It's just, you just have to experience it. And I'm a big advocate for, if you have the chance to represent your home country, you should. Right. Other than like maybe America or like another home country that you have. Just because it's a different sense of belonging or home that you feel. You're eating the food that you grew up on. You're listening to the music that you listen to on your own. So it's really a different feeling. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity and really happy with my experiences. And then the second question was, how did I feel when I got the call up? I first got the call up back in 2019 or 20. I think, a sophomore in college.
Okay.
I believe it was for either the Tokyo Olympics. They were having a mini camp in Atlanta, and it was under a different coach. And I think the assistant coach had called me up. I didn't go because I was still transitioning at the University of Iowa, college basketball, learning the plays and still being a younger player, underclassman. So I didn't, and I also was taking some very tough classes. I was taking, I believe, chemistry, and then I was taking physics too, organic chemistry and physics too. And those are like two of the toughest classes in college. So there was just a lot going on, a lot on my plate. And so it was an amazing opportunity. Of course, I picked it up, and we had kind of been in communication for a little bit. And then again, when I got the call up this, I believe, a year and a half ago now, during the summer, I was actually in New York on a trip with some of my girls. And I got the call up, and I first got a DM, and I was really excited. And then it started to become real day by day as we got closer to AfroBasket training camp, as we got closer to flying out to Rwanda, actually playing the games, seeing your name on the roster and being congratulated. So yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, that's really good. And you ended up winning the title, the AfroBasket, your first time playing for the national team. You won the AfroBasket championship. Again, how was the feeling, and how long did it take you to get over winning the AfroBasket championship?
The feeling was really amazing. I think I've never been in an environment where, it's all African teams or African fans, even fans from who weren't representing or who weren't a fan of Nigeria were cheering you on by the end of it, or people trying to come up and take a picture, just ask you how you're doing. I just felt a really big sense of home, and all the music and the kids playing, I believe, the opening ceremony. Like, that was just a moment that I'll never forget. Like, them coming in with the drums and them in their traditional wear. It was really a sight to see, and something that, obviously it's replicated every 2 years, but I think that each tournament is different, and each set of teams, right, they do change along the years. And so I think being a part of it and winning it my first time being on the team was such a blessing, and something that not everyone can say they did. And so really, really thankful for that time. And it did take a little bit to wear off, I think, just dancing with the trophy and making different videos and just having fun, just being in the moment and knowing that, like, it does pass. And so just being in it as long as you can, and then knowing that, we do have Olympic qualifiers, we have the next tournaments to also prepare for. So
all right, now let's talk about your game. What part of your game do you love the most? What part of your game? I know when it comes to 3-point shots, I know you're a queen. You are a queen when it comes to 3-point shot.
Thank you.
What part of your game do you love the most?
Yeah, I would say besides shooting, because I think, like you said, that's glaring or something that I do specialize in. Thank you. But I would say, other than shooting, I would honestly say my defense. I think, like, I'm longer than some people think. I am 5'9.5", but because I kind of have longer limbs, arms, legs. Exactly. I think pressing up the guards, like in maybe a 2-2-1 or 1-2-2, I think actually I really enjoy doing that. And I think sometimes it can get overlooked by the offensive end or the shooting or the scoring, just because coaches love defense. And so I think it just sometimes gets overlooked. But yeah, I love the defense. I love getting up in people's grill and just disrupting their whole game plan.
That's good, because defense is really important. Defense
Yeah.
wins you championship.
Yes,
Defense
it
wins you
does.
championship. Offense wins you games, but defense wins you championship. So that's
Yep.
really good. But which game is your
Mm.
favorite? Which game you'd always remember that I cannot get over this one? Which one?
Honestly, it would have to be the championship game against Senegal.
Yeah.
Like out of the AfroBasket games for sure. I think just because the other games, right, there were ones before the quarterfinals, so it wasn't as high stakes, but yes, you do have to win it. I just think that the game against Senegal, it was interesting because it was pretty close for the first three and a half quarters. And everyone's probably on the edge of their seat. Us playing, you can't play tense, right? The minute you play tense, you're starting to make mistakes. But you do sometimes like start to think, oh, like there's 5 minutes left. It's still a
Yeah.
5-point game. And so I think that game just showed that the resilience that the team has, and there was a lot of pressure. We had won it 3 times in a row before that. So fourth time is a charm is not a phrase used, but I just think it was amazing that we were able to do a four-peat, and I don't know. It was just that game I'll always remember that one. So yeah.
Now, winning the AfroBasket, how did that impact your confidence and your sense of purpose at the national team?
Yeah, I would say winning the AfroBasket, and especially at the end, getting that award of like best shooter in Africa and seeing, my minutes progress and prominence on the team, I think it did build confidence, but also at the same time, if any of those didn't happen, it wouldn't have taken away my confidence as a player.
Okay.
I think I'm very big on knowing who you are as a person, as a player on and off the court, just because I'm a big proponent of never let anyone take away who you are on the court or take away your love of the game, or depending on how many minutes you're playing or how you're doing, don't let that define who you are as a player, because you and you know what you bring to the court, the skills that you can bring. Just because you might not be having the best game right now, or you might not be playing the most minutes that you're used to playing, doesn't mean that you're any less of a player that you are. So I think, yes, those individual accolades and 3-pointers or points that I had, or winning that tournament, great, icing on the cake, amazing. I thank God, and I really feel blessed, and I thank my teammates, coaches, parents, brother, family, everyone supporting me throughout the way, and friends. But at the end of the day as well, it wouldn't take away from who I am. So yeah.
Now, speaking about coaches, let's talk about Coach Rena Wakama. The 2023 AfroBasket Championship, coach was appointed less than 2 weeks at the start, and she went on to win it with your. What can you say about the tactical and technical input that Rena had on that team that year?
Yeah, I think big ups, because it is hard to come into a position like that so close to a tournament, and try to gather a group of women that maybe haven't played together, right? Other teams, they may have all been on the squad for maybe 8 years, 6 years, however many years. I know Senegal or some other teams, they've had players have the chemistry, and to gather that group of girls with that short timing, and bring us to Rwanda and ultimately win the championship, I would definitely say is a big feat, and definitely proud. So we're all very happy with one another, and being in that tournament all together and under the leadership, it was definitely a moment to remember.
Yeah, that's really good to know. And just two more questions. I think you have to go soon. Yes, let's take a look at the teammates. Who would you say on that team was the motivator, someone that always drives the team? Who is that person?
AfroBasket. Wow, that's a good question, actually. The motivator, I would say, like, physically, MJ was just always on the boards. Like, you knew that, I don't know, you could shoot a shot, you could be running back on defense, and you could look at MJ is still there hassling or wrestling with someone for the ball, or trying to get an offensive board for you, and or pick you up off the ground. So I really liked MJ's presence, MJ's energy. Like, she was always there, every game, every possession. I mean, you see it now in the AfroBasket tournament currently going on. And so I really liked MJ's presence. And also, shout out Lauren Ebo, who didn't get to play that tournament because of off-court things, but she was on the bench with us the whole time. She was always screaming our name, and even Toyosi, who was also on the team, they were always screaming. She was injured, and just being there for the team and encouraging us. They weren't on the court. You could be down and you could be in your own head, but they were always there encouraging us, helping us. So shout out them as well. I think the whole team, though, did a really good job of motivating each other and being in each other's ear, for sure.
There was one name you forgot.
Kenny.
Adenike.
Yes. Nikki. I just said Nikki because Nikki wasn't injured or couldn't play. She was still on the team, so I didn't want to. But Nikki, big ups, Nikki. That is my girl, little sis. We love Nikki over here. Yes, Nikki. Nikki always had the great energy, brought the moves. You could see her dancing in the videos. She is a joy to be around.
I saw that video, and Nikki wasn't playing, but she was cool with it. She was supporting the team. She was all over, despite.
She always had a smile on her face, and she's just a light. She really is a light, and I can't thank her enough for being the way that she is, and just being so motivational and helpful and just so sweet. Nikki she's just a sweetie. I love Nikki.
That's really good. So let's talk about this last one. Your words to young girls who are looking to be like you soon, or possibly do better. What are your advice to them right now?
I think two pieces of advice. One piece is always be yourself. Kind of what I said earlier, don't let anyone take or try to add to who you are. You know who you are. Yes, obviously take the advice of your elders and take the advice of coaches and people you look up to, but ultimately you know who you are and you know what you can bring to the table. Don't let someone take the love of the game or the love of anything away from you. Just keep working on your game and your time will come. My second piece of advice would be learn to go through different avenues. So basketball is only one avenue you can take in life, right? Make sure that you are diversifying your talents, and that if you have a passion for another thing, it could be another sport, it could be art, it could be healthcare, it could be artistry, or I just said artistry, but engineering, anything. Just making sure that you're diversifying because your portfolio, because you don't want to find yourself stuck in one lane. I think that a lot of people growing up, once they stop playing, right, or they don't associate with their sport anymore, they lose a sense of identity. And so I think it's really important to just make sure that you know who you are outside of your sport, and that when you're in your sport, you're loving it, you're being where your feet are, and then when you're out of your sport, doing other things. So and keep God first.
Keep God first. That is very, very important. It's a wrap today on Ball Chat Weekend. I just want to say special thanks to Tomi Taiwo for joining me on this program. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.